I'm sharing my screen. Make sure if you're able to see my screen. Yeah. So,
Yes.
okay, perfect. Thank you. And okay. See, guys, somebody is requested for some recording and stuff. I got a notification. I am actually recording it over here. So I will share the link for you just to make it easy and simple and consistent. So I just wanted to let you guys know as well, So I just thought I'll let you know as well. Yeah, but I am sharing the recording, the presentation, everything. So one doesn't need to worry. Yeah, and okay, just give me a minute. I just need to do a change because of the sun, which is just exactly hitting here. So, okay. So, should be okay. All right. All right. So we'll start now. I'm just going to say my prayer and we'll start the session today. Yeah. And it's live. So just be aware of it as well in terms of the questions or stuff, whatever you're asking, right? It is live. So you are on a live mode. So just be aware of it. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. Okay. So let me say my prayer and we'll start today. Yeah. And I do have my Mercury also behind me, Buddha. So, all right. So we'll start. Yeah. So today, thanks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This session is live from Minneapolis, somewhere between this is session 6. So there are past Masterclass 5 sessions available in the YouTube as well. So you can search. There is a link provided as well. So you should be able to get that. I don't have many videos in YouTube. So whatever is there, it's there. There is Clubhouse. So you have options to choose. Yeah. The other thing I also wanted to share is that this is a recorded session. So you can hear, I'm sorry, you can hear the flight as well. Yeah. So this is the recorded session. And in a way, if you're not comfortable with recordings or stuff, right, you can opt out or you can come and listen to the recording later. I just wanted to give that piece of disclaimer as well. Okay. And this is session 6. Session 7 or 8 will be conducted either from Asia or Europe, I would say, but more to come. The time zone will be aligned to make sure with US, Europe, and Asia as well for people attending live. Okay. All right. Let me make sure I'm moving the slides. The agenda is there. These are the agendas. The ground rules. I just want to make sure, ask the question in chat. Yeah, I will answer the questions in chat as we come along. Be patient, limit one question per person to start with. Okay. And of course, the prayer, which I already did, you always want to do your prayer and start. Yeah, even if you're being an attendee as well, you don't need to be just a speaker, even an attendee as well. Yeah. Some of the things I'm going to look out today is the matching the 27 nakshatras, which was an activity from last week or last, I should say, class. Yeah. The competition versus balance, this time the moon versus Venus. We saw earlier about sun versus Jupiter. This is now moon versus Venus. Yeah. So in a way, the two luminaries and the two gurus come into play. Okay, as a balance. The luminaries and the gurus are the most important in a way. Then there is something about Venus as well, a little bit more to kind of align to moon, which we may not know, right? Some of you may know, but it'll give you an additional refresher and insider as well. Daksha Yajna is something I'm going to cover today. I did ask a question in Clubhouse earlier, the last to last week, about why Lord Shiva revived everybody except Parvati. And if you have the answer as well for it, right, why Parvati was not revived, I should say Dakshayani in a way, right? Dakshayani Sati was not revived. versus everybody else revived? If you have the answer, you can type it in the comments and we will read out in the last. I would say Meera, Neela should be joining anytime. They said they will help me with some moderation also. So we'll see if they are there. I don't know, Meera or Neela, if you're there. So I'm just calling it out. Yeah, if you're there. Okay. So they might join anytime. Yeah. So then we are going to discuss a little bit about the aviation industry, the chaos happening in the aviation industry as we speak, right? And as we speak, also you can hear flights in the background. I'm assuming people can hear flights in the background. Not sure, but yeah. Then Abhijit, some key information about Abhijit Muhurta, Abhijit Nakshatra, two different things. Then the universal order of Brahma creations. Mahakaleshwar is the fourth Jyotirlinga, which is going to be shared today, and the Q&A, okay, is the last. But you can start typing all your questions in the comment section as we speak. I will try to address as I finish the agenda 1, 2, or something like that, yeah? Okay. This is the prayer. I'm just putting it again for all of you to, whichever ones you want, but to follow. General is Om Tat Sat or Om Saptarishi Namaha, Om Navagrahaya Namaha, Om Suryaya Chandraya Mangalaya Budhaya Guru Shukra Shani Pishta Raghave Kedave Namaha, Om Namo Narayana. Yeah, these are the 5 prayers one can also use in a way. Okay. Now, one of the interesting thing, last class, or last class of Masterclass, I shared about, the balance and, how Shukracharya comes into play and all those things. And I explained the story of Kacha, Devyani and everything. So one of the students from the class, which is part of the one I teach, had actually gone to a temple, which is the Bhudevi Nayaka Samhita Vaikunta Perumal temple in Chennai. The link is here. So if you click it, it will take you to the temple. And when she went, they had put the tula, and you can see how, a crow is exactly sitting here at kind of 20 degrees when zero is right here, right? Zero, this is 0. So you can see how, how it is sitting exactly at 0 degrees. And you can also see that, the 30 and the crow is exactly sitting at 20. So you have the energy of Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu, right? You have all the 3 energies in a way, right? Not Ketu, my mistake, Saturn, Rahu, and Venus, right? And all I can tell you is this person is really blessed to have got this thing as a site and was able to take it as well. Okay, so you can see how the Shukra Venus is a Lakshmi energy, Saturn is the crow, Rahu is a snake, where you kind of see the snake energy where I've circled it here. And we know that Saturn is exalted in Libra in Swati Nakshatra at 20 degrees. Now, interestingly, the 8th house, when we spoke, is Taurus, right? For a Libra ascendant, right? Where Venus also holds the longevity. And 3rd house is Sagittarius, where Jupiter owns the longevity for a Libra ascendant. In a way, the 2 gurus come into play in a big way. Okay. And Venus has given its Mula Trikona, where Saturn is exalted, and there is a Rahu Mula Trikona Nakshatra of Swati there. Let me see. Looks like I have a minor issue. I'm just going to fix it out. Just give me a minute. I have a minor issue here. I have an issue, so I'm just going to end it and just start this one again. Just give me a minute, yeah? So, okay. It should start now. I'm sharing the screen again. I apologize. It sometimes this happens. So it's also a Saturday. So yeah. So this is kind of where it should work now. This is kind of where exactly you see the 0 to 30 and you go this way, right? So you can see that energy. So all I will tell you is this person is really a blessed person from Libra energy of Venus, Saturn, and Rahu. So this is kind of in my house in the backyard, how a squirrel, which is actually using the reverse or the ulta energy, right, to get the food. So if you see how it is going upside down. And I put this image also to show that Shukracharya, they say that almost went for penance for almost 1,000 years or something. And he went in upside down a tree branch and with fire, Indra coming and attacking him with fire and Agni and everything to make sure he doesn't complete the penance, from which he got the Sanjeevani mantra to bring the dead people to being alive, right? But this is how, imagine that he has done it for 1,000 years, and it's really not easy, okay? Even see how a squirrel balances so well from being ulta or going reverse, yeah? So somewhere if you see, it's an energy of balance. This is something I want to share from the last session also, how NASA has taken so what you see is in the center is Jupiter, okay? This is Jupiter, where I'm just drawing, okay? And how you can see in a way, exactly there is 5 different things going from Jupiter outside. This is the electromagnetic force. And this is published by NASA, okay? And you can see how it is going kind of elliptical, but not pure circle, but more like an egg-shaped or elliptical shape, like how an orbit is. This is how Jupiter is controlling the whole solar system in a way. Sun controls it from the center, Jupiter controls it from the end part of it. But you can see how it goes all the way. And NASA has confirmed that only Jupiter's thing is so strong. And, and even if you add all the other planets, you cannot add to Jupiter, the electromagnetic force. Yeah. So this is something to kind of understand through science as well. Okay, now it is also given a thing about low to high in terms of you can see here is given low and high here. Okay, so you can see the color spectrum is also how it's moved. And as it comes to yellow color, you see the high comes, and Jupiter also in a way resembles, yellow as well. So you can see how NASA has done beautifully to kind of show to us in terms of the Jupiter's thing, right? So that is something very important, okay? Okay, so this was an activity from last masterclass, right? Matching the 27 nakshatras to the state of emotion. This was a big study done by University of Berkeley in California, right? Around 2017 or so, they came up with the study and they found out that, the science, right? Now, how old is the science? Science is 200 to 300 years old, okay? And how old is Vedic astrology? Greater than 6,000 years old. So you can see the just not being old, right? One is being old. Second, I also think what is you have to also see is all the rich textbooks, rich information you have, right? Not just Bhagavad Gita, right? All the Vedas, the Puranas, right? So many things are there, right? And that's the thing. So that gives you a lot, and science has to take its time. Will science find everything? Will science validate everything? No, I don't think so. They will be able to validate everything, right? But it is trying, it will take its time. That's the important thing here. Okay. So what I've done is, this is the activity question. So I'm going to answer it. Before I answer, right? Before I show my answer or something, take it with a little pinch of salt, because I know people would have answered it, worked on it, right? There is, of course, there are some very close correct answers and stuff, but also one needs to understand how you get to the answer. Sometimes I always say one doesn't need to go to the answer quickly by matching A to B or X to Z and everything. Sometimes the answer is by elimination, okay? That is an approach where you can eliminate it, okay? For example, admiration. It cannot be Ashlesha. It cannot be Purvashada in an example. It cannot be For example, Satabisha, it cannot be, I'm just giving an Ardra, for example, right? So you can start eliminating Jayashta, like those things you can eliminate before you get to which nakshatra, rather than trying to go and match it with it. But I will tell you what I also did. Maybe I think in Masterclass I would not have shared, but in class I would have shared with people who are learning from me. Okay. What I did was I used the Ganas and Nakshatras. Okay. The Ganas is Deva Gana, Manushya Gana, Rakshasha Gana, right? People who are, so it's broken down into 3 layers. So even in your case, right, if you are born in a Devagana, which means you are Ashwini, Mrigashira, Punarvashu, Pushya, Hasta, Swati, Anuradha, Shravana, or Revati, you will always get very well with Manushagana people, okay? Or with Devagana people, okay? But when it comes to Rakshasagana, this won't work. Devagana people with Rakshasagana, it's like a mixed bag. Okay. It's like we call it as tough love. Okay. So it's a mixed bag. But Deva with Manushya will do good. Deva with Rakshasa, it's like a mixed bag. Okay. When whatever the Deva people say, the Rakshasa people will try to kind of say, I'm understanding, I will do it, but they won't do it in a way. And Devagana people will get frustrated, upset with it. And Devagana people also hold a little bit higher standard than the Rakshasagana people, right? Like those things is what the challenges come into play. Okay. The Manushagana, in a way, if you look at it, okay, it's interesting. It's kind of the balance in between as a Manusha. So they do well with Deva, they do well with Rakshasa, and they do well with also Manusha. Okay. So in a way, they completely take over with all of it, in a way. Okay. Now the other thing is the Rakshasa Gana people, they do very well with Rakshasa Gana people in a way. So they will match very well. Same thing, they will also go very well with Manushya. With Deva, there will be some kind of conflicts and contradictions. Now, Abhijit Nakshatra, I've not put here, but it's a Devagana. I've just kept it separately out. Okay. So this is what I used. And you can look at the slide now in terms of how I have answered it. So Ashwini is with calmness, Bharani is with distress, Kritika with empathetic pain, Rohini with entrancement, Mrigashira with anxiety, Ardra with sadness, Punarvasu with nostalgia, Pushya with satisfaction, Ashalesha with sexual desire. I think I already gave that. Magha with admiration, Pura Falguni with awe, Uttar Falguni with joy, Hasta with excitement, Chitra with aesthetic appreciation, Swati with craving, Vishakha is amusement, Anuradha is sympathy, Jyeshta is envy, Mula is fear, Purvashada is romance, Uttarshada is strength, which I also mentioned it last time. Shravana is interest, Dhanishta is boredom, Tatabhisha is horror, Purva Bhadrapada is adoration, Uttar Bhadrapada is awkwardness, and Revati is confusion. Okay? You can check your answers and you can give your comments in the comment chat section as well to see, what were your thoughts about this. I'll give an example. I think I already mentioned about Ashalesha and Uttarashada before. I'll add a couple of more things. Why Dhanishta is boredom, for example. Okay. See, Dhanishta Nakshatra, okay. The thing, if you look at the symbol, right, it's like a drum. Okay, somewhere they like music and stuff like this. So they have to listen to music or something, okay, in a way to get them activated. If they don't listen or anything, right, they get bored. Okay, they have to keep, in a way, engaged with music or stuff like that, in a way, for Dhanishta. Okay, Chitra Nakshatra, aesthetic appreciation. See, it comes to Vishwakarma. Okay, Vishwakarma, where he built all of those things, right? Even they say if you go to Cambodia, Angkor Wat, right? It said Vishwakarma as the one who's built it. So Vishwakarma is he's also built several things. The Trikasur, which was destroyed by Shiva, the 3 worlds and stuff, which will meet at the same point. Everything was done by Vishwakarma. So Vishwakarma has got a very, very good eyesight or a good thing for beauty and aesthetic appreciation in a way. Hasta Nakshatra, why excitement? You tell them something, right? Immediately they'll get excited. Immediately something will come. That is the first thing they will get in a way, right? Come to Adra, sadness. Why? There is always that one tear drop, whatever it is, right? It may not be a true sadness, but it is always that because it's like a stormy energy of Rudra, okay, where Mercury and Mars meet in Gemini, where Mars, Rahu and Mercury meet in Gemini, right? Rahu and Mercury. So it's Rahu energy in Gemini in a way, okay? Anxiety. So here is where Mercury and Mars meet and Mercury and Venus meet. They're always searching for something, okay? Mrigashira is always searching. So there is that anxiety in a way, okay? But this is kind of how I've answered it. Feel free to type that in your comments with whatever you have answered and see how close you are. Or if you want to critique mine, more than happy you can critique myself, okay? No problem, but I gave you my thought process and logic of how I have done it. Okay, we'll move on. So this, you will have this, so you will know it. But again, this matters to science, what we say on the 27 nakshatras, what the University of California, Berkeley has done as well, yeah? So again, the bringing back the Jupiter thing, right? How Jupiter plays a very important point. So where you can see this is an asteroid belt. Okay, again, this was created by Jupiter, right? This asteroid belt, if you see. Okay, this is created by Jupiter between Mars and Jupiter, right? And then you can really see how that Jupiter does this protection in the solar system through multiple ways. Okay, but this is again to show the understanding where a couple of things. If you see Earth and Moon is here, right? So this is very important for people to understand Earth and Moon. And you see how Moon and Mars is, they are very close to each other. What it tells you is the number one planet which can dignify Mars, okay, is a moon with strength, a full moon with strength, okay? So you can see that. Same thing you can see how if you see full moon and you can see Saturn, how far apart, but see how close Jupiter and Saturn are, right? But the farther, Jupiter and Saturn is way far, so this is where you see Jupiter, Saturn dignification, full moon, Mars dignification comes up place. Same thing, right? In a way, moon can dignify all of these planets, all the way from Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Very good. So moon itself acts as a Jupiter if it's a full moon. Okay, the moon itself is, as per our Vedas, a full moon equals Jupiter, as per our Vedas. Okay, so moon can act as a Jupiter, and a moon can be even stronger than Jupiter if it is sitting in certain houses with full strength, and even if Jupiter aspects, it's even stronger than a Jupiter. Okay, and the reason also one can explain is you get a full moon every 28 days or so. Okay, so moon can get the strength every 28 days. As we speak, right? This is a full moon, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you can collect the water from the full moon as well now, right? Before it enters Aquarius. Moon enters Aquarius is a problem because Rahu is sitting right there. But you can collect, full moon is very auspicious, okay? So do collect the water as well if you want to have it, drink it, or, spray it in your house and stuff, yeah? Okay. This is something I want to also share by science, okay? All the planets and temperature. Now, very clearly, if you see, look at Mercury is so close to Sun, we know it, right? See the temperature of Mercury. There is a day temperature and a night temperature. Again, shows the duality of Mercury, okay? But see Moon again, the day and the night. You have, again, the duality. But none of the other planets has this day and night temperatures. Only Moon and Mercury will have, right? This is what I keep always saying. You touch kind of Moon, you touch Mercury in a way. The duality comes very strongly, right? Second important thing is, you see the other important thing is Mercury and Venus. Look at Mercury, who is closer to Sun, and look at Venus. Venus goes to 900 degrees. Mercury, the highest is 800. So Mercury's smartness in a way shows that it can bear the heat and dissipate the heat, even it's closer to the Sun, okay? Mercury cannot go away from Sun 28 degrees in a way. Venus can go up to 48 degrees, right? That is where Venus, still, but Venus faces the problem of combustion with Sun, but not Mercury. This is, understand this a little bit more because we'll come back to this again. You will understand why I'm also sharing this. Okay. Now we look at the theory versus reality, okay, of Venus. How did Venus form? What happens every 7 years and what happens every 8 years in a way? As per NASA, now we know the story from the Puranas and the Vedas about Shukra, who became Venus, right? And everything. But as per NASA, Venus formed from a swirling disk of gas and dust from the sun. That's what it says, okay? This is NASA's theory. Venus was blessed as not only a planet, but also the great benefic and deity guru of the solar system, as per our Vedas and Puranas. Now, what happens every 7 years? This is very important. The sun only comes out every 7 years on Venus, again as per NASA, okay? While on Earth, you see the sun every day, okay? So the sun only comes every 7 years in a way, okay? And even then, the sun on Venus only shines for 1 hour, okay? For us, the Earth gets 24 hours sun. But yes, certain parts of the thing will get 12 hours, but Earth gets 24 hours sun. It's the different hemispheres which get at different times. But again, there's only 1 hour, right? So Venus power really come from its position than its, I mentioned placement. It's not aspect. Okay, I just noted, I'll correct it. Yeah, it's aspect, okay? Every 8 years, Venus returns roughly to the same position in the sky as seen from the Earth, every 8 years. It forms what is called a pentagram or a petals of Venus pattern. This is because, again, this is what, last time also, if you see, right, I explained the star, the 5-pointed star, right, where Venus is kind of the 5-pointed star. So it's coming back to the 5-pointed star where it forms like a pentagram, okay? 13 Venusian orbits, it's equal to nearly 8 Earth years. So this is kind of what NASA's thing is coming back, okay? Now, we know Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. It's also an extremely fascinating planet, the goddess of love, and the high temperatures it can reach, okay? Now, Venus, despite being similar in size and composition to Earth, is very different. This is the thing, right? If somebody in your family or somebody thing is very different, okay, very different personality, that means that person will have a very strong Venus in the chart. Could be a Libra ascendant, moon in Taurus, very strong Venus, exalted moon, because moon is in Taurus in a way, right? All those things will come and they'll be very different. And Venus, everything about Venus is always very unique and different because he becomes a deity guru and he goes to the other side. So as per Vedas and Puranas. So that's kind of what happens in a way. Okay. Okay. Now we'll compare with Venus with Moon, the competition versus the balance. Venus is all about expansion, comfort, luxury, lineage, and also the slow movement. Moon is about nourishment, material gains, emotions, and quick movement. So one is called the light source of beauty. Other one is called the enhanced dignified light, again, beauty. Venus in those days with the Asuras used to have what is called the Madhura Ras, right? It's a modified version of Soma Ras. I know when I mentioned Soma Ras, there are a few people who wanted to know the recipe of Soma Ras. There's a Soma plant. We have to go figure out the Soma plant, and they use the Soma plant to make the Soma Ras. Okay, but I don't know the recipe at all, and you have to go and hunt for the Soma plant. Okay, but a modified version of the Soma plant is the Madhura Ras, which is also a version of alcohol. The Madhura Ras is a version of alcohol. The Soma Ras is a version of alcohol, which is a different alcohol kind of a thing. Think of something like a root beer or something like that, which is really not a beer, right? That kind of thing is Soma Ras, which also, I'm just explaining it today's world, but Madhura Ras is more like alcohol. So Venus is a team B captain, a guide, a teacher, a guru. The position is stronger than the aspect. Here, wherever moon sits, becomes your Rashi Lord. It's friendly to all planets, no enemies. In a way, even though he's a guru, right, he can teach even Brihaspati's son, right, as an enemy. Indirectly, Venus also shows the same thing. Like moon also doesn't have any enemies in a way. Okay. Now, the position versus aspect, aspect versus position. It's another interesting thing. Owner of second house, owner of seventh house, Libra, Mulatrikona, Karaka of seventh house, marriage. Transits will go very well in 9 houses, right? Transits always seen from the moon. Owner of the fourth house, Cancer, but Mulatrikona is in the second. Venus gets fourth house, Digbala, okay? Karaka of the fourth house, which I've mentioned it here also. Okay, so somewhere if you see the sun and Jupiter, you see similarities, you see moon and Venus similarities. Venus nakshatras are continuous, but not blessed as the same way Venus is. Moon nakshatras are continuous and super blessed in a way. And then you have both are watery nature, both are female. Both kind of owns a Kendra and a Dana, right? Between the Mula Trikona and the own house. Venus gets 4th house Digbala, Moon gets 4th house Digbala. 4th house Karaka vehicles, 4th house Karaka moms and gains, material gains and those things. Venus manages the pregnancy and menstrual cycle of a woman. Moon manages the pregnancy and the menstrual cycle of a woman. And the third planet which comes in directly is Mars with Moon and Venus. And for the baby, Jupiter will come. This is how it is, okay? Bhrigu Rishi here, okay, comes a big part, which is Shukra, right? From Bhrigu Rishi's son is Shukra. If you look at Chandravansh, it's Lord Krishna, right? And Chandravansh also comes from Shukracharya only, in a way, right? So Chandravansh, Shukracharya is all connected, and I'll show you the picture as well, which is in Guru Shukracharya temple. You have exactly phases of Venus 14, and exact phases of Moon is 14, right? Shukla Paksha, 14 Krishna Paksha. And then you have the full moon and new moon. Okay, so exactly, but we don't see the phases of Venus today because the block is from Sun. We don't see that today. Okay, because Sun is a 1 million times power kilowatt source, and Venus is probably 10,000 or something, less than 10,000, right? When you compare that as a 1 million. Because of that light source thing, you don't see the phases of Moon, but there is the exact phases of Moon, which NASA has confirmed. I'll share that. Now, when there was a fight and war for Tara, which I also explained in last session as well, Venus will join the moon to fight against Brihaspati before Brahma interferes. In a way, Venus moon joins together when needed also. That is where in a chart, Venus and moon aspect is very good. Venus and moon conjunction is not good. When they both join, it's not good. Okay, because Venus moon joined here, right? They went in the wrong direction because it was Brihaspati's wife, Tara, you know. So Venus joining the moon is not good in a chart because the moon is just very close to the sun at that time, because Venus is around 48 degrees from the sun. Yeah, so Venus aspecting the moon, a moon aspecting the Venus is in no way good rather than conjunction. Okay. Where Soma meets Shukra. This is the Soma Ras. There was a couple of people asking me this so many times, even in Clubhouse and across the things about Soma Ras and the whole thing, right? There are 3 steps in purification, refinement, and conversion by chanting special mantras. Okay, the mantras is a special mantra is also needed. They press the Soma plant for the juice. They filter through the sheep's skin. They use the sheep here, okay, and then mixing with milk. Hence, the transformation from Soma to Shukra as a refined essence of purity, pleasure, and dignification. And they say whenever Soma thing is done, you will see Indra immediately coming for it. Indra comes and, in a way enjoys the Soma. It's also the sense of the mind. In the Samudra Manthan churning, the Devas had the Amrit, and alcohol, somehow was given to the Asuras in a way to kind of do it, okay? And if you read the book called Taittiriya Brahmana, it speaks about a lot about the Soma Ras and what to do and all of those things as well, yeah? So this is the source from a book called Taittiriya Brahmana, yeah? Okay. We'll come back. So I'm going to switch between Moon and Venus today, okay? So we'll come back and see the Moon and duality. See, we know Mercury is very completely dual. Where Mercury gets its dual nature in a way is from moon. Okay. And moon has got two ways of dual nature. Okay. One way of dual nature, okay, is moon has the waxing moon and the waning moon. Okay. The Shukla Paksha and the Krishna Paksha. So that's a duality. Okay. Another way of the duality is explained by NASA, where at any point of time, you can only see one side of the moon. Okay. Okay, so the duality, NASA also says this. NASA clarifies the two sides of the moon, facing the earth and the other always facing away. Looks so different. Now, where does Mercury gets duality? Okay, where does Mercury gets duality? Mercury gets duality by two ways. Okay, Mercury Rashis, both the Rashis are dual in nature. Okay, so that is a full dual energy there, Gemini and Virgo. And Mercury himself is dual. Why it is dual? It can go to team A, it can go to team B, even though it's a team B planet. Okay, Mercury can do very well if it is independent and placed good. Okay, even for a team A ascendant. But the duality will come is the Adipatya, whatever houses it owns, right? For team A ascendant, that may not do good, but Mercury will still do good. So that's where the duality also comes. That's where I always say, like, you touch moon, you touch Mercury in a way, because you're very, very common to each other. Okay. So here NASA has shared these pictures. You can see how, right, the moon has two sides, one visible and the permanently hidden away. So you can only see one side always, right? This is kind of, and they say that moon's vital role is in stabilizing Earth's rotation. And we know the tides as well, right? We know the menstrual cycle. All of this is important. But moon plays three important things, okay? Absorb, filter. This is something so important, but Jupiter does it outside, but moon does it here. And third is reflect. And we will see that by science also today, with VIBGYOR. Yeah, we'll see that as well. Okay. This is again how moon, you have different phases, how NASA has taken different pictures of how the moon looks, you can see. And the birth of the moon, they say that as two personalities. One is familiar and one is mysterious and revealing up to 59% of its surface from the earth. 59%. Okay. So in a way, if you see, right, we will come back and discuss later how when moon is somewhere 50% away from sun as waxing, that is where it becomes benefic in a way. We'll discuss that later down the line, but I'm just going to put that thought here. Okay. Now we know the phases of the moon, right? We have the 14 different phases of waxing, 14 of waning, which is the 28th here, right? And then you have the full moon and the new moon. So you can see how NASA has given these pictures across the board here. Yeah. Now we'll come to Venus. We'll switch gears. So again, you see, this is again shared by NASA, right? So how, if you count, you can exactly see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. These are the 14 phases of Venus. This is kind of given by NASA. Okay. Since Venus orbit is inside of the Earth, because this is interior planet, exterior planet, right? Venus is an interior planet. Venus displays phases much like that of the moon. Okay. Now you have to also understand the interior planets like moon, like Mercury and Venus, they don't have any moons at all, but they will display, especially Venus will display the same phases of the moon in a way, if you see. Okay. And the most important thing is Venus is bright. This is very important. Venus is bright when we see it as a crescent. In a way, if you see, the crescent is when what Shiva has put it in his thing. When the Akshaya Tritiya story I also mentioned, he's put the crescent moon. It's kind of the Tritiya Tithi. That is the crescent moon. Okay. And then they also say when Venus is in the evening sky, that is its maximum distance caused the greatest elongation from the sun. In the morning sky, it is brightest just before the greatest elongation, before the sunrise. Okay, so before the sunrise or after the sunset, but again, you see the 14 phases of the moon, which is kind of a mirror image to the 14 phases of, the 14 faces of Venus, a mirror image of the 14 faces of the moon as well. Yeah. So this again comes back when I spoke about the lineage, right? So if you see here Bhrigu, okay, and if you also see in Bhrigu Shukracharya, right, which is Venus. This is Venus. And if you see here exactly, right, this is again from a, I would say from a Guru Shukracharya temple, right? So again, if you come back and see, right, the whole thing, if you see here, right, Krishna comes in the same lineage here, where you can see the Mahabharata comes, Vichitravirya, Pandu, Pandavas, all of them come here. Okay, so here, this is where if you see, even we call Krishna, Lord Krishna, right, as Chandravansh, right? But Krishna comes here. There was the other picture I shared last time. You can go and see it out more clearly. Chandravansh, but the Chandravansh is actually coming from Shukracharya. Okay, and you have, of course, the Devyani, which is Shukracharya's daughter as well. Sharmista, the whole story I explained before as well. So you can see that here. Okay. Coming back, right, in you have Shukra, there is 8 forms of wealth, which is called Ashtalakshmi. But in Vedic astrology, we use 16 divisional charts. Okay, 16 divisional charts called Shodasha Varga, which comes back exactly to the 16 forms of Lakshmi. Okay, the 16 divisional charts kind of aligns to the 16 forms of Lakshmi here. But when Venus is associated with Lakshmi, when Venus is conjunct with Sun, it's Vijay Lakshmi. Venus with Moon, Dhanya Lakshmi. Venus with Mars, Veera Lakshmi. Venus with Mercury, Vidya Lakshmi. Venus with Guru, Santana Lakshmi, or also called Bhagya Lakshmi. Venus with Saturn, Adya Lakshmi or Adi Lakshmi. Venus with Rahu, Dana Lakshmi. So you can see Rahu gives that money in a way, Dana. Venus with Ketu is Gaja Lakshmi. So Ketu was revived by Jupiter. So that is why the Gaja comes. Rahu was revived by Shukracharya. That is why the Dana comes in a way. Okay, so you can see the 8 forms of the Venus, Shukra here with Lakshmi as well. Yeah. An interesting thing is Karaka for the Middle East. There's always this question I've been asked, and the answer is actually it's Venus. If you see, Friday is a holy day, right? Venus, which is owned by Venus. And they use Shukran, 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 everything for thank you. If you look at the attire for men, it's a white or a off-white robe. The Arabic script, right? It's also a counterclockwise, which is also Venus, but Rahu moves counterclockwise, but Venus rotation is counterclockwise. Islamic men, true Islamic men who follow Islam, they must only wear silver. They're not allowed to wear gold. The gold is only for women. Okay, so you can see that. Drinking in Islam is haram. Shukra bland liquor, the Madira, right? Which is what I said earlier. Because of the Kacha thing, they gave it with the ashes, right? That is where Shukra banned it. The star, the 8 points, again, 5 point is in a way Christianity. Even Islam also uses the 6 and the 8, but 8 points is the other one here. The Middle East became rich due to the discovery of black gold, crude oil under the ground. This is a combination of Saturn, right? Plus Rahu making them rich overnight. In BPHS, Maharishi Parashara mentions about concealed treasure discovery during the Mahadasa of Venus, and also in Moon Mahadasa, Venus Antardasa. Okay? This is exactly what it is. Swarbhanu is an ardent and favorite disciple of Shukra. And only with Shukra's guidance, Swarbhanu disguised himself as a Deva, and Shukra made him sit between the sun and the moon. After Vishnu, right, as Mohini Avatar, used the Sudarshana Chakra to kill Swarbhanu's head, he took the Amrit, right, and then they became Rahu and Ketu. Rahu as Bodhakaraka, Ketu as Mokshakaraka, okay, or Jnanakaraka. So the human-head snake body. So if you see, again, the Samudra Manthan story also created what is called the rootless vegetables, right? The garlic and the onion. So anything associated with Rahu is garlic, anything associated with Ketu is onion, because they are also rootless vegetables. And they have taken the Amrit. So that is where the power for the onion and garlic comes, that smell and the strong smell, which is we call by science as sulfur. Okay, the sulfur is the big content in both of this. So if you eat raw onion, raw garlic, then you can actually see the smell, and you can actually kind of see how potent they are. Shukra, Venus, is the Karaka of Middle East and Islam, but not Rahu. Shukra, energy, wisdom, and knowledge, is used by Rahu to implement the script teachings and beliefs as a disciple. End of the day, Shukra is the guru, right? So I'll take a pause before we go to Daksha Yajna. I don't know if Meera or Neela, one of them are there, or both of them are there. I should check if they are here.
I'm here, but I'm driving.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So, anybody wants to read any comments, or I can read the comments? Just 1 minute. I want to see if there is any comments or in the questions before we go to the Daksha Yajna. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me see if there is any comments in the chat section for a minute. Okay, I see some comments, but let me see. Hi, namaste. Oh, it was Devansh. I didn't know. Hi, Devansh. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was you. Yeah, sorry about it. I didn't know who was doing it, so I didn't realize you have joined, Devansh, but thank you. Pratima, Lord Shiva respected Sati choice of renouncing a physical form given to her by Daksha and a desire to transcend the limitations of the physical body. So Lord Shiva respected Sati's choice of renouncing a physical form given to her by Daksha. Okay. I don't know, somebody by name Venus has typed. I don't know who it is, but good morning. Dakshani wasn't revived as she didn't want to be associated with Daksha as he insulted Lord Shiva. Daksha has prayed and done penance to Adi Sakshi to be born as a daughter. He also put in a condition that he would have to get her married to Shiva, and if he insulted, she would immolate himself. And Shiva had to respect that boon and sequence of events. Himawat as Parvati, okay, correct. It was Daksha in his own wish or decision to end that life, and she was insulted with Daksha, her father's behavior, and wanted to give up the daughter relationship with Daksha itself by destroying the body given by her parents. Yep, it was her own wish. Very good answers. Okay, so we'll come back now. I'll answer the question, but very good information. Yeah, thank you. I'll answer in a minute. So the Daksha Yajna was actually one of the most difficult yajnas done because it was full of ego. Okay, Daksha deliberately did it to counter the yajnas which was done in the past. It's called as Nirishwara Yajna. Okay, that is the yajna's name, which means Ishwar is not attending. That is why it's called the Nirishwara Yajna. Okay. And the revival of Daksha happened with Gothead first, okay, after Brahma asked. And then after Daksha's wife, who is a very strong devotee and very auspicious person, when she asked for the Trimutis, then Shiva gave back the head from the ashes, revived it, and the goat head was taken and put to Aries, okay? So Kal Purush Aries has the Ram energy, which is of Daksha, okay? So the death of Dakshayani is where the no revival doesn't happen. Shakti Pitas comes into play. Okay. So I'll answer in a minute. Before that, we'll go one by one. It's called the destruction of the ego. Okay. Right. So this is kind of what happened in the Daksha story. I think I'm missing somewhere. Okay, here. I think okay. So in the three yajna story, right? The first one marriage which happened was for Chandra, okay, Soma, who married 27 daughters of Daksha Prajapati. The 27 daughters actually was told by Brahma, condition to Daksha that these 27 are always close to each other. They are like, you cannot separate them. Okay, since they are so close and they love each other so much, whoever is going to marry them, okay, will have to marry together. Okay, you cannot separate them. Okay, they're so close attached. Now, Soma only actually fell in love with Rohini, and Rohini fell in love with Soma, Chandra. Okay, but Soma only wanted to marry Rohini. He did not want the 26. Okay, but in order to get Rohini, he has to marry the other 26. That was the condition, and he has to spend equal time with them. Okay, which he did not, and then the curse happened by Daksha, and then Daksha cursed, Soma, and then he prayed to Shiva because Narada told him to do it, and then Shiva removed the curse. Daksha and Shiva ended up in a war where Vishnu came in and he said, "I will do a balance." The balance is from Shukla Paksha, from waxing moon, Shiva's removal of the curse will work. From waning moon, Daksha's curse will work. Okay, so the waxing is more associated with material gains, health, everything. The waning is more associated with spirituality, pitrus, and all those things. Okay, so this is where the two energies come, because even the story is, if a curse once given cannot be removed. Okay, a curse once given cannot be removed. Okay, so this is where Vishnu came, and Daksha still was upset. But Daksha mainly did the yajna. The first yajna trigger was Soma. This was done so beautifully that everybody in Swargaloka to Bholoka said, "This is so beautiful, one of the best wedding and everything." Then what happened? Things were going out of balance in Bhuloka. So then Saptarishi, Bhrigu with other Saptarishis plus Narada started doing a general yajna for the health and well-being of the people and the world, because things were starting, Adharma was starting to rise, Satya was starting to be suppressed, and all those things. Okay. And then they also, in a way, stopped Indra and Varuna thing because of Narada. Okay, because it has to go to the Trimurtis. Now what happened? So seeing this, what happens? Sorry, before that, my mistake. Before that, there was the first yajna which was done. Now, after some point, Saptarishi, Bhrigu with Bringi Rishi, they want to do for the world benefit. The second one was they were doing the general yajna, and it was done for Indra and Varuna. And then what happened? Narada came and said, you cannot do for Indra, you cannot do for Varuna. It's the Trimurtis. It's Indra or Varuna. No, it's Trimurtis. So then the story was, who should be given between the three Murtis, right? Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva for the yajna. You cannot do for three people, so one person. So then they say to Bhrigu to go and check out who is the person who is most eligible. Okay, the person who's most eligible is where he goes to all the three lokas. He goes to Brahma Loka, he goes to Kailash, and then he goes to Vaikunta. And eventually the story comes out it's Vishnu. Okay, so then they start doing for Vishnu. And next is the Bringi Rishi with Sapta Rishi, that is for the good for the world benefit. In this one, they call everybody, including Shiva, but what happens is Daksha doesn't pay the so-called respect to Shiva, because Shiva is his son-in-law, married to Dakshayani, and Shiva is younger, son-in-law, and in a way he feels is, you have to bow down to me. But he forgets that he's a Trimurti, right, Daksha. So then Shiva walks away. The yajna doesn't really happen. It stops. Okay, collapses in a way. The next yajna, this is the Daksha yajna, where Daksha deliberately organized another yajna with Saptarishi Bhrigu. Okay, and some other Saptarishis joined, everybody comes, Ashtadigbala comes, everybody comes. And it's called as a Nidishwara yajna, except no Shiva there. And this is where Dadichi will curse that, Bhrigu will lose this power, people will die, the whole destruction is going to happen, Daksha will die, it will be, the circumstances cannot be even told, it's beyond one's thought and speech in a way, okay? And then eventually this yajna happens, and this is where Sati gets immolated, because Sati is not being invited, Dakshayani is not being invited, she still goes. and then she kind of immolates, which I'll answer in a minute, the whole thing. The 5 major yajnas for Vedas and Puranas: Brahma Yajna, Pitu Yajna, Deva Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, Manusha Yajna. Okay? All right. So, if you want to look at the answers of why Shiva did not revive Sati, first of all, okay, I think people have answered it very well. So thanks to everybody who's answered. To break it down in simple curse, again, I'm getting an answer. Nandi's curse also on Daksha to have a goat head, as he spoke bad against. It is not Nandi's curse, actually. It says Daditi's curse. Okay? Daditi is already cursed in that. Okay? So it was Daditi's curse. But so let's look at one by one. First is, okay, Daksha, okay, the respect for Shiva, it went away completely after marriage to Parvati or Dakshayani, okay, Sati. It went away. No respect, because you are my son-in-law, you have to bow down to me. Okay. Second, Daksha cursing Sati, that's Dakshayani, that I am your father, I have given you all of this, including the body and everything is of mine. Okay. Now what happened when Dakshi want to immolate herself, calling Agni, okay, this is what she says. Number one is, I don't like my body, okay, because this body is associated with Daksha. Okay, the body, I don't like it. Okay, I don't want this body anymore where this is associated with Daksha. First thing, okay, so I don't want this body. Second is, I don't want to be called as the daughter of Daksha. I don't want to be addressed as the daughter of Daksha married to Shiva. Okay, these were the 2 important things Sati said before she said she's going to go and immolate herself. Okay, before she said. And this is where she destroyed it, and she prayed about the other story comes where there is also rebirth born to Himavat. Okay, Himavat, and her name is called as Himavati. Okay, who is nothing but Parvati. And she doesn't even know after a rebirth. But the most important, these are the 2 points, right? The body, the Daksha, the daughter, and everything. But there is a very important element which is not, people have not mentioned it. Okay, the most important element is, in Hinduism, this is the belief. Body, when you burn, right, through fire, so there is a body and there is a soul. This is what takes rebirth. The body is temporary, the soul is permanent. This is the fundamental thing on Hinduism, which is what you will get in Dakshayagna, story of Sati, where the body is temporary and Daksha was clinging onto it. So Daksha, and he said, I'm done with it. I don't want it anymore. And that's it, I'm going. So Shiva, respecting all of this, and that rebirth thing is to happen as Himavat and everything. And anyhow, he doesn't want to put with Daksha's thing anymore, has to kind of let it go. Okay. And the body goes away, which is temporary, and reborn, the soul takes the same thing, but different body, different father, everything comes different. This is the fundamental principle of Hinduism. If you see, this is the same thing what you get from Dakshayagna story. It's the same thing of Hinduism, how the body and the soul is different, and how we burn the body, but you're reborn in a different way, in a different thing, right? So this is what it's the karma way. Okay, so this is the fundamental answer which is going to come connecting those 2 points. I know a lot of you answered very well, and you're right. But this is the ultimate answer, the pinnacle, if you ask me, to connect the dots. Okay? See if that makes sense, what I said, yeah? But what you answered is kind of correct, like I mentioned, but this is again the Daksha doctor and everything coming in. Don't want to have the body given by Daksha, don't want to be called as the daughter of Daksha anymore. Himavati Parvati. So that is kind of what happened. Okay, correct. Shaktipitas, correct. As energy as a consequence, absolutely correct. Okay, so, but that's the answer, yeah? Okay. So now we look at the Soma's marriage to the 27 constellations here, right? And if you slowly see here, in a way, right, you start from, Aries here, come all the way halfway mark to Libra, where you see the balance. You see how the balance is halfway mark, and then you come back to Capricorn, right? And then you have Cancer here, which is opposite exactly. So in a way, if I draw it much more, so this is where the center is. And the 27 nakshatras. So the important thing, what you learn is, in this case, is Moon, 27 wives, which is the daughters of 27 daughters of Daksha. And this is where the nakshatra comes into play. This is where we saw the emotions come into play. And using Moon and Moon nakshatra, see, it's a parallel track. Okay, it's a parallel track in a way between Sun and Moon. And people don't understand this. The Sun is the 12 Rashis, and this is the 27 nakshatras. Okay, and they meet together in Navamsha. That is why Navamsha becomes important, because 3 degree 20 minutes is a common for Navamsha, and 3 degree 20 minutes is a common for a nakshatra pada. Okay, so they both meet. And same thing, right? All the planets, except keep Rahu Ketu aside, all the other 5 planets are kind of aligned with Sun. Moon has got its own orbit and Moon has got its own nakshatras. But Moon also needs Sun's light to do some work of absorb, filter, and reflect. So in a way, the marriage is happening that way. Okay? So I mentioned this already. Yeah. So basically, I kind of explained pretty much whatever it is over here. So the Shukla Paksha, Krishna Paksha here. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now we'll go to VIBGYOR. The very interesting thing on this is by signs, the visible, invisible spectrum, and everything. Okay. So you have VIBGYOR in a way where we know V is for, again, Venus here, which is violet. The indigo is again Saturn. The blue is Rahu. The green in a way, if you see, belongs to Mercury. The yellow, Jupiter. The orange, Sun and Moon. The red, Mars plus Ketu. Okay, so if you see how it goes. It stops here and then it comes down. So if you see, Venus 20 years Mahadasa, Saturn 19, blue Rahu 18, Mercury 17. Stops. Then it starts decreasing. So it goes now decreasing again. 16, Sun, Moon 16, right? 10 plus 6. Right? Mars Ketu 7 plus 7. 14. Okay, so this is where, if you see, what is also interesting is from here to here, it's all team B. From here to here, it's all team A. And if you see, Venus is the only one which gets 20 years, the highest. And we know Venus is the only planet. Venus is the only planet which is Vargotama in exaltation. And it also go to a Pushkara Navamsa, right? In Revati Nakshatra, Pada 4. And Venus is exalted at 27 degrees in Revati Nakshatra, Pada 4. So if you see, and then you have two invisible spectrums, okay, which is UV and IR. This is Rahu, this is Ketu, infrared. Now, what is important, people have to understand, how do you bring this again, astrology, right? I've explained astrology piece. But if you're a team A planet, you want to look at this energy of clothes, colors, everything in your house. If you're a team B planet, ascendant, right? Ascendant, team B ascendant, you want to use this. The 6 ascendants this side. Okay? Taurus, Gemini, Virgo, Capricorn, Aquarius, sorry, Libra. This side. Then you have this 6 ascendants this side here. Aries, Cancer, Leo, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Pisces. Okay? See, the color, I'll explain also in the next slide how the color comes, what we see. Okay? When a sunlight of beam is passed, okay, the sunlight is passed. What happens is, when it hits, in this case, what happens when it hits with a combination of moon filter also, okay? So think of this beam, this is sunlight, this particular piece is moon in a way, okay? What happens is, when Venus also has its own light, and when it takes that light from what is coming, you see it as violet. If you go and see the sign, the Pisces Rashi, okay, the Pisces Rashi color will be purple violet, but Venus gets exalted there. Okay, when you come to Libra, you will see black, where Saturn gets exalted there. Okay, in Libra. So it's a combination of sun and moon plus Venus energy, where you see the violet. And you see the maximum deviation, which is where you see 20 years. Next is 19, Saturn, indigo. So next is you use what is called as the Uttarakala Mitra Kalidasa, where he talks about 30, 16, right? 12, 10, 8, 6, 1. Sun, Moon, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Saturn. So this light, this is called Kalas in Uttarakala Mitra Kalidasa, where it uses this energy. There is this light, they have that inherent light. So when that combines, what happens? You get indigo. Same thing, right? Same thing when you have Rahu, right? You get the blue. So anybody undergoing Rahu, Mahadasa, everything you see, why do you see the blue? Because of this. Especially when Rahu comes into Aquarius, Capricorn, that energy will come. When you're undergoing the Saturn Mahadasa, you will see a lot of indigo things naturally coming. Okay? But this is again through science. Again, I've broken down, right? The spectrums, the deviation and everything, right? This prism, if you look at it, think this as a moon, and this is the sun. And then you have the ultraviolet and the infrared, which is Ketu. And this is Rahu. And we know today the UV, in UV, okay, there are 3 UVs, okay, UVA, UVB, and UVC. This all pretty much comes with a combination of Rahu and the sun energy in a way. Okay. Now, this is again, right, in Hinduism, what you see now. This is the temple, again, called the Sri Pushparithur Temple, Nayuru, which is in Tamil Nadu, Chennai. Okay. And I have been to the temple as well, where you have the picture here, the sun, and below you have the 7 horses, which is the VIBGYOR again. This is nothing but VIBGYOR. So now, why this color and moon comes an important place, right? We're going to show an experiment. I have a couple of people in my class. I just want to thank them, Shubha and both Shubha and Vandana, for helping me with this experiment. It's very fascinating how you come back and see these colors, right? Violet, indigo, blue. So all you need to know is this important piece, right? Violet is for Venus, indigo is for Saturn, blue is for Rahu. So you can see the colors. And you will see a very important point in this experiment, which I'm going to share today. Okay. And why even the color of your car, the color of your clothes, everything is so important. The colors around you, the paints of your wall, if the color what you wear, what you choose, it is so important in a way. Okay, the stones, right? The nakshatra, the so-called your nakshatra stones, navagraha stones, everything comes that color that's got that energy. So what we are doing is, instead of a prism, we are having a magnifying glass and a balloon, each of the color we are taking. So the same thing, violet, indigo, blue balloons, and we are passing the sunlight directly through that prism and then through the balloon. So we'll see what happens. You will be fascinated if you have not seen it. So the experiment 1 is through individual balloons. Yeah. So individual, see what happens with each of the color: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Okay. Now, again, thanks to 2 people, Vandana and Shubha from the class, for doing this. I really appreciate it. So thank to them. I'm assuming both of them are here in the class, but thank you again. So let's start. Yeah. It should work, I believe. Okay. See, it burst. Violet gone. Indigo now. This is indigo. Gone. Blue. Gone. Green. This is Mercury. Gone. Yellow. Jupiter. Gone. It takes some time though. See? Orange. In a way, the sun energy, right? Sun and moon here. Red. Mars and Ketu. Gone. Okay. Now comes to white, which is moon energy. This is moon. See what happens. See what happens. The person can keep on holding it for 24 hours. Nothing will happen. This is where the moon becomes a very important point. The white energy is associated with moon. This is why I say to people to collect the full moon water, right? The full moon water. So you can see how I see some nice emotions coming from Adi and JLo. Thank you. But this is how the colors come in. See, the colors are coming from the planets. The days of the week, Sundays for sun, Mondays for moon, it's all coming from the planets. Yeah, the days of the week, the colors, everything. Okay. So this is experiment 1. We'll go to experiment 2 next. It will be even more fascinating. Okay, now this is balloon, individual balloons we saw, right? Let me finish. Again, it's going to the same one. I don't know. Let me see. I hope. Okay, this is balloon inside a balloon. Okay, so you have a white balloon outside and you have the violet, indigo, the different colors inside, balloon inside a balloon. See what happens now. If you want to take a guess, you can guess, but you see the white balloon now. Indigo, green, yellow. See all the colors, red. orange, white, inside a white. You see? VIBGYOR, this is white and black only, okay? A black balloon inside the white one. See, gone. A white, see? Black and white and black reverse. You see now? So again, thanks to them for doing this, but again, this shows the power of the moon, the full moon, the VIBGYOR, right? Through science, why moon becomes so important. And moon also is your Rashi, okay? Thank you, JLo. Moon is also your Rashi. How this is so important, how this plays critical in the colors, what you choose, in the colors, what you wear, in the colors you resonate well, in the colors that supports you. But end of the day, the moon doesn't have any enemies. So moon supports all the, other planets, everybody, right? Rahu, Ketu, Saturn, and Venus consider moon as the enemy, including Mercury. But moon doesn't consider them as enemies, okay? Like how a mother would never consider the child as an enemy, right? That's kind of what it is. It's coming again. Wait, I think it's okay. All right. Yeah. So we will next come to the some interesting things have been happening in the aviation industry, and I put some bits and pieces here. And some of the people in the group I have shared. So since Rahu entered the air sign Aquarius, May 18, 2025, okay, till December 25, 2026, Rahu is going to be in Aquarius. It will move counterclockwise, starting from Purva Bhadrapada, then Satabhisha, then Dhanishta. Okay, these are the three nakshatras. And Satabhisha, do note, is Rahu's own nakshatra. Okay. So in a way, if you look at it, when Rahu entered May 18th, see all of this starts happening. It's an air sign. Aquarius is always associated with flying energy, the wind energy, which is associated with flying aviation, right? And you can see this is just a small screenshot, right? A snapshot. But even now it's happening yesterday, day before yesterday, May Day, everything is happening left, right, and center. Okay. So I've given some remedies also, right? Praying to Atri, Om Atriye Namaha, Om Atri Anusuyaye Namaha, praying to Renuka Devi, right? Or Yellama, right? These are the two people who can actually protect when you want to travel, before you travel. Okay, they will help you in the travel, especially during flight travels, all the more. But even travel, they'll help you from Rahu's protection. Yeah, that no mishaps or nothing happens. But I just thought we'll start from here. We will decode. This is the Ryanair crash, which happened back sometime in the year 2008, November 10. Okay, so if you see again, okay, in this time, what happened is the crash happened because of the bird's attack. Okay, so in Vedic astrology, we know that Mercury is always associated with bird. Okay, and we know that air signs are three: Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And Aquarius, all the most important, where you have the flying energy, the wind energy. Okay, so now we'll see. See, Mercury is in Swati Nakshatra. Lagna, this is the exact time I've given, so you can go and check when this happened. The recording, the thing all came out. So the ascendant is in Visakha, Sun is in Visakha. And if you see Saturn here in the 11th, aspecting in a way very close to Mercury, but Lagna and Sun. Okay? And this is an air sign. And Saturn is aspecting Aquarius, which is its own house through the 7th aspect. Moon is in Saturn Nakshatra. That is most important, right? Okay, this is a bird attack, so Mercury is afflicted here. Okay, but all the more important is, look here. Saturn is what is called as Atmakaraka. Saturn, when it aspects its own house, will damage that house. So Aquarius is going to get damaged. There is no benefic aspect on Aquarius. Okay, there is no benefic aspect on Aquarius. Saturn aspects this house, and Saturn aspects also this house, Taurus, through the 10th aspect. Okay. Now, very important in this combination, even though Mars is in Scorpio, Mars and Sun are conjunct, and Saturn will aspect this Mars by degrees. It's going to aspect now. So Mars also comes into this picture. Okay, in this whole combination, Mars comes into this picture because they are different. But look at the degrees; they are conjunct, and Saturn degree is going to aspect it. Okay. So in a way, Mars with Lagna is also another problem here. And it's associated with an air sign. The Lagna is an air sign. Okay. And the Atmakaraka is Saturn, right? Okay. We'll go next. We will look at next is the Air India flight crash on June 12, 2025. Okay. See the things, what and all so far we've discussed. See if those things are coming. Okay. So Lagna. See, in this case, Saturn is associated with the Lagna because of the third aspect. Saturn is associated with the Rashi because it's in Saturn Nakshatra in a way. Okay, Saturn's Nakshatra is there on that day. Okay, right? Okay. Now, we come here. Saturn, see the degrees of Saturn. Saturn aspecting the Lagna. Saturn aspecting the Moon. Both. Okay. Now, Saturn is throwing an aspect on this house, but not on Sun. But look at the Lagna degree, look at the Moon degree, look at the Saturn degree. And Saturn is in its own nakshatra here. Okay. Now, if you look at the Atmakaraka here, right, the Atmakaraka is Sun. He is the 12th lordship here. He's not a great lordship here, 12th lordship. Okay. Okay. And what you see also here in the 12th house, you got malefic sitting, Lagna spoiled. Okay. Now, the most important thing is Rahu is in air sign. Rahu's come to the air sign. And if you see, right, Rahu is not dignified. Jupiter will aspect this house only, but not Rahu by degrees. So, and if you see, right, Mars is also aspecting this house. Mars is also aspecting Saturn by degrees. Okay. So, in a way, if you see, right, in a way, the 12th house is afflicted very badly. Okay. The 12th house is afflicted very badly, and there is no benefic aspect on the 12th. And the nakshatra associated with Mula is Nirti, Lakshmi, okay, which is also energy. It's got some good things, but it's got a lot of destructive energy as well. Okay. What is interesting is in this date, right, in this time, several people died, but there was two people. One people walked out of death. One person missed the flight, and several people died. So we will also look at some of those details also here. So here is a person by name Raj Purohit Kushbu who was in C36G. Okay. Now she died. Okay. So this is a passport. So what I'm going to do is the place of birth, date of birth is there, but we don't have the time of birth. Okay. So I'm going to use moon as the Lagna. I won't go into moon's nakshatra in a big way, but moon as the Lagna I will see. Okay. So in this case, moon is in Capricorn. Okay, I'm just going to use this. Forget the nakshatra. I'm not even going to use the nakshatra. but moon is in Capricorn. That's it. This is enough for me to see the answer. Okay. Now we will look at a few things here. Okay, when she's kind of died. So in a way, right, if you look at it, right, see, when some big things like this happen, usually the rules are you first look at fifth house, ninth house, and first house, Lagna Lord. Okay, why? Because this is Lagna, your strength. Fifth house is Purva Punyasthana and Bhagyasthana. These three are the protection layers for a person. So if you keep this as a Lagna, look at the fifth house. So the same rule will also happen, okay, for who's sitting in 36G, a person who survived also will be the same thing. This will be strengthened up, first, fifth, and ninth. Somehow this will strengthen up. Okay. For a person who's died, it will be weak and damaged. For a person who is alive, this will be strong. Okay. The roots are the same. Okay. Okay. First house, okay. Fifth Lord. Where is fifth Lord? The fifth Lord is Venus, sitting in the seventh in a malefic Rashi. Okay. In a malefic Rashi, Moon and Venus aspect each other, but not by degrees, but still there is an aspect, fine. We don't want to go into Kendradipati dosha and all those things for a minute. Just keep it aside, but it's sitting in a malefic Rashi. Okay. But the fifth house is damaged. You've got Saturn and Rahu, two malefic planets sitting in the fifth. Very, very highly damaged. Okay. Who is the ninth lord here? Mercury is the ninth lord here. So this, we are going to ignore it. Mercury is the ninth lord. Where is Mercury now? Caught with Rahu. Okay. See the degrees. Mercury is also caught with Rahu. So the fifth lord gone. The ninth house gone. The ninth lord gone. The fifth lord is in malefic, but the fifth house, ninth house is damaged. Damaged. That's it. Right? So the first, fifth, and the ninth are protections in a way. Okay, these are protections. They will always protect you. That is why they call Lakshmi Sthana. Okay. Now, in a way, right, if you look at it, the Saturn is also aspecting this house, the seventh house. Okay, the seventh house here, the Saturn is aspecting. Okay, the Saturn will also aspect the second house, the Maraka here. And the Saturn is also aspecting this house, the 11th. Okay, but Saturn is aspecting Venus and the Maraka house here. And Saturn is stuck with Rahu here. So the fifth, ninth is all in a way combined. Now Saturn is also a Maraka. Why? Because for an Aquarius, sorry, for a Capricorn ascendant, this is a Maraka and this is a Maraka house. So when did the person die at this time? Rahu Mahadasa, Saturn Antardasa. You see now, Rahu, Saturn. Saturn is a Maraka here. Okay, aspecting another Maraka house and conjunct with Rahu. Okay. Okay. So this is a person who was in C36G again, who died. Okay. I should have said this before. I hope I pray for all of the people who have passed and all of the people who, when we travel, take us. I want to also thank them, from the bottom of my heart, because every time when you travel by train, road, car, or anything, right, there is always a Maraka effect, right? That is why in our books it says travel and Maraka associated with each other. Okay. So I sincerely thank all the people who have taken me all along with my travels, be it by bus, car, train, whatever it is. I always thank for all the crew, people, the people who are visible, not visible, everything. And I wish to thank them in appreciation in this session as well. I also want to pass on my deepest condolences to all these people of these families who have lost the near and dear ones. May the soul rest in peace. But I know it's a very difficult moment, and people also who did not travel, right, where there was a medical hostel and people were eating food, they also died. So all of them, I really, really want to make sure that their families come out of this in a quicker way. But I know it's very difficult and very, very, It's not an easy thing, but I sincerely wish, yeah? Okay. So this is the person in 36G who died. We will look at the next person, the lone survivor, okay? The lone survivor, Ramesh Vishwash Kumar, who was seat 11A, okay? Seat 11A. So, see, people try to do a lot of things, okay? Meaning, see, like for example, 11A. 11A, you add 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 3. This is Jupiter. So the protection is coming from Jupiter. This is fair enough, right? But the thing is, the seats, the names, the numbers, they don't really hold much of the key. Your chart holds the key. Just by looking at your chart, we can tell things in your house, what is broken, what it is, and everything. Okay? Okay? We can say that very clearly. See, for example, right now, moon is in Uttara Bhadrapada. Okay? Not moon, my mistake, Saturn is in Uttara Bhadrapada. So, to people who are born moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, right? Uttara Bhadrapada is also associated with a cot, a furniture and stuff. Since Saturn has entered Uttara Bhadrapada, people born in Uttara Bhadrapada, moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, during this time period, the pada has to match. They will have issue with their beds, legs, their cots, legs, okay? Those things will happen now for them, okay? The legs of a cot, furniture, bed, some sound, screeching noise, some breakage, those things will happen. Okay, because Saturn is entered moon in Uttara Bhadrapada. Uttara Bhadrapada is also associated with a bed cot. Okay, those kind of things. So they will see the problem. My point is, you can see a lot, you can tell a lot. Now, how much you want to go, it depends on what is important. So my point is, if this is Jupiter energy, right, and if you're primarily saying because of this is protected, now what I'm failing to understand, right, seats. Okay, 28 is also Jupiter energy. See, 11A is Jupiter, 11A is Jupiter energy, 10B, Jupiter energy, right? My point, 10B is Jupiter energy, okay? Then what happens is, you can think of 20A, 1, 2, 1B, right? 1B, 2A, right? All of this is Jupiter. Why they did not survive then? Why they did not survive? My point here is, yes, this is Jupiter energy, but my point is, it has to be the energies in the chart. That is what will help you, not in the seat number. Why I'm saying this is I don't want people to go after this 11A seat, 11A seat, 11A seat, 11A seat, and I want 11A, so I'll be protected. That is a myth. Don't go in that direction. Okay, that is my point, because these are also Jupiter energies. Why these people all died then? Right? So don't fall into the myth trap of that number alone. The number, color, everything is coming from Vedic astrology. I just explained why that white color, why white colored balloon cannot explode. That is that moon energy of absorb, reflect, and filter. That is where moon is so superior. Yeah, but be aware of this. Yeah, okay. So here is the chart. The whole details are here. So this is what I'm using. Lagna, I don't know. So moon I will use, and then moon as the Lagna, right? And then we will do the same thing. Okay. We are going to scratch this out. Nakshatra also, we are going to stop. We are going to use this as a Lagna. Okay. See what and all I made. Fifth house. The fifth Lord, fifth house. You see how this person survived. The fifth Lord is in the fifth house. Pugura Punyasthana. Okay. The ninth Lord, it's a team A ascendant. Okay. I'll have to go back and say this is in a way team B ascendant. There's nothing wrong about team A, team B here, but I'm just explaining. Yeah. Here, the ninth Lord is Jupiter, who is placed in Aquarius. You see the Aquarius Jupiter now? When Rahu was placed, it causes damage and havoc. But Jupiter comes in Aquarius, which is the protection. Lot of books says Jupiter debilitated in Capricorn, but Jupiter kind of exaltation in Aquarius. It's very powerful in Aquarius in a way. Okay, it's the Kumbha, it's the Kalasa and Kumbha. So in a way, the protection happens, and it's the 11th house here, which is gains and protection. Jupiter aspects this house, the 5th house, protecting it, and Sun is already in the 5th house. Now Mars is in the 9th as the Lagna Lord. Okay, but Jupiter is the owner of Mars. Jupiter is the owner of Rahu. These two houses, Jupiter is owner, and he's placed in 11th and 5th. So he's sitting in the 11th, protecting the 5th, owner of the 9th, owner of the 9th house, owner of the 12th house, sitting in the 11th house, aspecting the 3rd house. 3rd house, longevity. 5th house, Purva Punya Sthana. 7th house, Maraka house. See the same rule again? Lagna Lord, gone in the 9th, dignification. No malefic aspect on Lagna Lord here. He is still dignified close to Digbala and a Jupiter house here, Sagittarius. Saturn doesn't spoil it here. Okay. Okay. Next is 5th house, 5th Lord. You see how Sun comes, Purva Punya Sthana. 9th house. Mars is accident, so an accident did happen, but still he survived because of Jupiter sitting here as the depositor of Mars and Rahu, right? Okay, as the and see when did he die or when did he add this accident? Rahu Moon. BPHS also says very clearly in Rahu Moon about this kind of death and accidents in a way. Now, if you see, right, Rahu Moon, and Rahu again comes into play, and then Moon is second to Rahu. Okay, Moon is second to Rahu. Yes, now Rahu also has an aspect of Venus. Venus is a Maraka here. It's kind of like a double Maraka for an Aries ascendant here if you keep this as the moon. So Venus is aspecting as the Maraka, giving the Maraka result also. Okay, but the protection is coming from 1, 5, and 9 here, versus the protection was lost here in 1, 5, and 9. You can see the same example for a person who survived and for the person who died. So this is where the Trikona Sthanas or Bhagya Sthanas luck becomes a very important part in a way. You see? Any questions or comments, please type in the comment section here. Yeah, I'll be happy to answer it as well. If you have any comments or anything like that, yeah? Okay. Anybody questions or comments? Because we will be closing out very soon, but I just thought before we close, I have a few things to cover as well, okay? So if you have, please type. Next is Abhijit Muhurta, Abhijit Nakshatra. This is how your watches, okay? A watch. And what you see is, right, if you're standing here on the ground, this is the ground. You always see the sky as this. This is what you see the sky. So you only see the sky 180 degrees. The balance 180 is below the ground. This is underground. You cannot see it. Even before, I can see only one arc, which is 180. So this is 180, this is 180. Okay, so this is what you can see. This is kind of the watch in a way, mirrors this. Okay, so 6, 7, 8, you can see this to 6 p.m. Okay, now the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is also when Rahu call also comes, which is important, sunrise to sunset. That is where Rahu call comes, from sunrise to sunset. Okay, we are first focusing on Abhijit Muhurta before we come to Abhijit Nakshatra. Okay, so see how the sun goes in the path from morning. This is the peak, and then evening. This is where sun is around 12 p.m. This is 6 a.m. and this is 6 p.m. Okay, so you can see how it hits the peak before it falls down. Okay, so this is the peak. So I'm also showing the pictures how you can see the sun in different angles here, right? I have the links here. You can go and check it out. So sun rise in the east, sunset in the west, and this is like south. The solar noon, south. This is where in the Kalpurush, if you see, sun rises in the east is kind of Aries. Okay, sunset in the west is Libra, and the Abhijit, the 10th house, in a way, it's Capricorn. And the opposite side will be Cancer. Okay, so you have like sunset Aries, like first house. That is where the first house you always have in the Lagna. When somebody is born in the sunrise, the time period, they'll have sun in the Lagna. So this is the first house. This is 7th house, sunset. And this is 10th house. This is where sun gets a very unique dignification. We call it as Uttarayana, when sun enters Capricorn. Yeah. Of course, there is these angles changes, summer, spring, autumn, winter, it comes down, right? So, but this is still the reference point of solar noon. So again, you can see from sunrise to sunset. And this is where the Abhijit is going to come. This is what we are looking at. Okay. It's also, they call it a place to watch transit of Mercury Swan. Swan energy is in a way associated with Jupiter. And it says, this is the link, so you can go and check it out. They speak about sun, but Mercury and Jupiter comes also in a way. So this is how I have given, okay? Sun at the 10th house, noon, Digbala. So let's take an example. As we are coming close to the 12 o'clock where I am, okay? So sun is right now here in Gemini. We are today, I'm just looking at the date today, July 12th, okay? So sun will be probably at around 27 degrees or so, something like this, 27, 26 degrees. This is where sun will be today in Gemini. Right now, as we speak, if it's in the 10th house, ascendant has to be Virgo. Around 12 p.m., right? If you keep it at Minneapolis, 12 p.m., this is a very close approximation, okay? So when it is at 6 a.m., right, sun will be at the Lagna. So sun here will be, I have to put this here. This will be the Lagna, but sun is at 6 p.m., 6 a.m. 6 a.m., sun is at Lagna. Okay, sun will be at Lagna. Okay, now what happens slowly when it comes to the 10th, 12 noon, this will be the Lagna. Okay, this will be the Lagna. Sun will be at the 10th house. Got it? So this is, and when sun is setting, okay, sunset at 6 p.m. or so, sun will be in the 8th house. Midnight, sun will be in the 4th house, which is Nishpala. So the Lagna will keep on changing. So when sunrise, sun will be at Lagna. So this, in this case, will be Gemini ascendant. Sun in the 10th house, Digbala. So here, this will be Virgo ascendant. Sun will still be in Gemini. This is not going to change now for the next few days. 4 more degrees have to cross. Okay. Sun at 8th house. Okay. Sun at 8th house, which means Scorpio ascendant. Sunset at 6 p.m. Midnight, like 12 a.m., right? Sun will be in the 4th house, Pisces ascendant. Okay. Now, sun at Lagna, sunrise, sun 8 a.m., sun at 12th house. So what happens when, see, our Vedas and Purana says this. Even though sunrise is very auspicious, you can see the sun. It takes 8 minutes once the sun rises for the rays to fall on Earth. 8 minutes, okay? What happens in that 8 minutes time period is, depending on what day, the hora changes, okay? If it is a Wednesday, it will be Mercury hora in the sunrise. If today is Saturday, it's Saturn hora. So there is a mixture happening. On a Sunday, it will be Sanskora. But before the sunrise, it's called Brahma Muhurta. Okay, 2 hours before the sunrise is very auspicious, because actually what happens is sun is not contaminated in a way, and it's also a nice time for the Devaloka and everything. So 2 hours before the sunrise is even auspicious. Okay, even during Surya Puja before sunrise is more auspicious than doing Sun Puja in sunrise time period. Okay. Now, what happens when sun rises at Lagna, sunrise, more before auspicious, before is the Brahma Muhurta. This is what is most auspicious before sunrise, okay? Because there's no contamination, nothing. After, so basically what happens, after sun in Lagna, sun moves to the 12th, which is a Marana Karakasthana. Okay, Marana Karakasthana. Next is sun moves to the 11th house, which is a Labhasthana. But then when sun comes to 10th house, here is where auspicious comes, because it's called Digbala, which is also what happens called Uttarayana. Generally, right? Because it's in the natural Kal Purush, Aries is the first house, Capricorn, 10th house, Kal Purush. So it's very auspicious. So what happens from the time when you want to do something auspicious during Lagna sunrise, afterwards it all drops, the energy drops. Then it peaks during Abhijit Muhurta time period. This energy peaks. How do you see this? This is an example. You see, this is growing slowly up, and the peak is here. You see, the peak is the highest. This is called as MH, midheaven in Western astrology. Okay, you see how the peak happens. This is why they use Abhijit Muhurta. Same thing, you see how here, you can keep on putting suns here in this. This is the peak before the drop happens. That is why they use Abhijit Muhurta. Okay, this is the fundamental thing. It's a technique, it's easy way. Think of very good example in India. You fall sick, one falls sick. Instead of going to the hospital, you go to a pharmacy and you say, I have this problem. The pharmacy will give you medicine, right? They will act as a doctor now, right? So it's a very simple way, easy way and stuff to kind of avoid that hospital chaos, appointment, doctor, all those things, right? But it's a easy way. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it will not work, because the medicine guy is not authorized as a doctor. Same thing, Abhijit Muhurta is good for certain things, but you just cannot trust on Abhijit Muhurta. That's the point. Okay. So in a way, if you see the same thing, right, you see the peak, how it hits. See the same way how the peak, you're seeing the peak. This is where they use as an easy technique. So in a way, right, to give a Muhurta, you just keep sun in the 10th house and keep on giving it. That's it, blindly, right? It's very simple. But it's good for some things, not good for everything. So we'll see that. Okay. So Abhijit Muhurta is only 48 minutes, plus or minus 24. Okay. Why this Muhurta comes 48? It's a combination of 27 plus 12 plus 9. 27 nakshatras, moon energy, 12 rashis, and navagrahas. So you add, you will get 48. This is where the 48 minutes comes in. And broken down 24 minutes before and after 12 p.m., which is the midheaven. Why astrologers follow in general? Because it's very easy to give a Muhurta. Okay. And good in general for auspicious activities. Okay, good. But when it comes to Muhurta for marriage, housewarming, Abhijit Muhurta alone cannot yield positive results. Okay, other factors comes into play. Okay, other factors comes into play. So you have to understand that. Okay, suppose a month ago, I'll give an example. A sun was here. A month ago, sun was here. Okay, this is exactly till June 14th or so. Sorry, till my mistake. Where are we today? Yeah, till June 14th. Okay, we are now in July 11th. Okay, till June 14th, sun was here. Okay, people used to give Abhijit Muhurta using Leo ascendant, because sun is in the 10th house. You see, Lagna, Sun is Lagna Lord, gone to the 10th. This is what? And midheaven. And this is the people even give, even for marriage and everything. Why it is bad? Ketu was here. I'll explain. Okay, Mars was here at that time. This is somewhere between, 1 minute, April, May 14th to June 14th, 2025. You can go and see. Okay, in this time period, this combination will happen. Rahu is here. Saturn is here. And they're conjunct. And Mars Ketu, this is very bad. Forget moon. Moon will keep on moving. Okay, Jupiter is here. Okay, somewhere if you see Venus was here, I think Mercury was here. Okay, something like this was happening. Okay, this is bad combination. Very bad. Or my mistake. Mercury cannot go there. I think Venus was here. Mercury was here. The 28, 48 degrees calculation is there from Sun. So this would be the combination. Moon is moving so fast. So moon will go through the houses. Okay, between this time period. That's why I've not put moon, but I think I put everything 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Moon is going fast. So moon can be anywhere. But this is a very bad muhurta because you've got Lagna, Mars and Ketu. And then Rahu in the 7th and Saturn conjunct with Rahu now in the 8th. It will move in the Bhava chart and all, it's fine. Very bad. Jupiter in the 11th, it's okay, but still bad. This is, you cannot give these muhurtas because you are using Abhijit and saying Lagna Lord 10, Leo Ascendant, it's so bad. I'm telling you. That's what I said, right? You have to look at other planets, Lagna, Moon, Nakshatra, Moon Spread, Navatara, Rahu, Kal, so many things. Just because an astrologer gives you an Abhijit Muhurta for a wedding or buying a house and all, right? That doesn't mean the Muhurta timing is auspicious. They have to take your birth chart. See, if I'm allergic to penicillin, okay? If I go to a hospital, they ask me about my allergy for antibiotics and I say I'm allergic to penicillin, clearly, okay? Which means they cannot give me anything penicillin based because I'm allergic to sulfur. Now, non-penicillin based are erythromycin, azithromycin, emtrocin, all of those things are non-penicillin based, okay? Non-sulfur based, that's the problem. So my point here is, right, you have to match my body, my allergies to the medication. You match. Same thing, the muhurta, you have to match with your chart. You have to match. You just cannot do it independently, okay? This is kind of, Abhijit is see, everybody wants to become an astrologer, which is great, all the best, but you have to do, there is work to be done. There are 9 planets, okay, 12 rashis, 27 nakshatras, 4 padas, then 12 navamshas. I mean, then mahadasas, then moon strength, then navatara. I mean, there is like so many list of details to be covered. You just cannot put one and give it in 5 minutes, 2 minutes. This is not like a fast food where you have everything ready in the kitchen. You come and order a samosa or a chaat or whatever it is, right? Or a busy balabat or whatever it is. And 2 minutes they come and give you. It does not work in 2 minutes. You have to understand the person's chart and everything, and you have to put it together. Right? Just because you give it in 2 minutes doesn't make you people an expert here. You're just playing with people's karma. But my point is, this is not fast food where it's cooked and kept ready in the kitchen, you come and give it here. It's just very annoying to see these things. I left India in 98 and it's been 27 years and just gone like anytime. But the more and more I'm hearing, it's like cheap tricks, fast food tricks, doesn't work. But this is about Abhijit Muhurta. Yeah, you have to consider other things. You have to match it with it. Okay, see, if you want to, an example is if you want to go buy a phone, okay, you don't need to do a Muhurta specifically for buying a phone. You can do Abhijit Muhurta and go, it's fine. But not for a car, a big investment, which can put you into an accident or a home. You buy home or car once in 5-10 years, whatever it is. You buy a phone every year, whatever, you can keep changing. You can buy a cheap phone and keep on changing Android phone every year. Doesn't matter, right? So this is important. Marriage, you want to have one marriage and proper marriage. So this is a very important thing. Again, Abhijit Muhurta on Wednesday. Abhijit Muhurta on a Wednesday. Again, this is the energy of Rahu and Mercury. Why Rahu and Mercury? See the Mahadasa sequence and see the sequence of the week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We know this. Sun Mahadasa. This is Mahadasa. This is day. Moon, Mars. Exactly, it's coming. Instead of Mercury, Rahu comes, clashes with Mercury. Then Jupiter comes. Then Saturn comes. There is a flip-flop. It moves backward, and then Mercury comes. But there is a clash, these two clashes. So Rahu, Mercury, reason because is on a Wednesday, exactly Rahu call comes between 12 to 1:30. So this is where you don't use the 12 o'clock time. It is not that there is no Abhijit Muhurta on a Wednesday. There is Abhijit Muhurta, but it's not auspicious because it's clashing with Rahu call time. Okay? And we know that Mercury Nakshatra is Ashalesha, which is also associated with Rahu. So Mercury and Rahu has a very good connection in a way, but it's also a clash. Okay, I just kept the slide empty if there is any comments to address. Now we look at Abhijit Nakshatra. It's called a fallen pole star, which is called the Vega. What you see here is a Vega. This is a fallen pole star. This fall happened during Mahabharat. It's the 28th nakshatra, which is almost close to the 3 degree, 20. It's a span of not 3 degrees, 20 minutes here, I think. It's a span of 4 degree, 13, 20 seconds. This is the span. Okay. It's exactly between Capricorn, in Capricorn, between Uttarashada 4th pada and Shravana Nakshatra 1st pada. Okay. It's the last pada which comes between Uttarashada and Shravana. All 27 nakshatras are the wives of Chandra, Soma, except Abhijit, who is a male nakshatra. So Abhijit is a male nakshatra. The other 27 are female things which is associated with Chandra's wife. The best match for a Uttarashada nakshatra for marriage is Abhijit. Okay. Which is also ultimate victory, which means initial losses. So you always talk to people who is Uttarashada, right? The first part of the life will be all loss, initial losses. The victory only happens in the second part of the life because of the Saturn in life. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that among Rashis I'm Makara, among Nakshatra I'm Abhijit, even though he's born in Rohini. Brahma and Vishnu are the gods who are in charge of Abhijit Nakshatra. Lord Krishna plucked. That's the story where the Bali has to be given before the war, and Sahadev is being asked by Duryodhana to give a muhurta, and he gives when sun and moon are all in Capricorn, okay, in the Abhijit Nakshatra. So, but it was Amavasya Tithi, which is what. So Krishna comes and he calls the sun and moon god to say that today is Amavasya. He prepones it every day to a Tithi of, instead of on a Chaturdasi Tithi, just one day before Amavasya, he calls them. So then what happens? He makes it that day as an Amavasya, and he asks the Pandavas to sacrifice that day. And Kauravas sacrifice the day which is given by Sahadeva. Now that becomes the next day after Amavasya, which is called the Prathame, which is very bad. That's end of the day. But the point is, the star's power is so much that a sacrifice itself will determine the outcome of the war. Yeah. Now I've just put this again in Bhagavad Gita, what and all Lord Krishna says, I am Vishnu among the Adityas, okay, among the sun I'm Ravi, because there are many suns. There are 12 different suns, but he says among the moon I'm Shashi. Okay. So he says about he speaks about even the Rishi, Sapta Rishi, Jyotisham, Maruts, Marichi, all, even Brigu will come, or Meru will come, all of this will come. I've also put it in a way for people to understand, among the 11 organs, including the eye, manas, the mind, which is also associated with the moon, right? So, okay, we have come to the last part now. Another 5 minutes, I think we should be done. If there is any questions or comments, please type. Yeah, we are coming almost to an end. This is again as per the Puranas, where Brahma has divided the kingdom as follows. The Saptarishis crowned the Prithu as the king of the entire earth, which today we call it as Prithvi. Okay, this is nothing but Prithvi today. Okay, today what we call it as, but it's actually Prithu. Yeah, Chandrama is the ruler of all the nakshatras. So again, right, this is where you see nakshatras, planets, Brahmins, vegetations, yajna, and penance. Right, Chandrama, which is the moon, right? So this is where if you see the nakshatras, everything is again associated with the moon. Chandrama, Soma, moon. Kuber as the ruler of wealth, Varuna as water bodies, Vishnu as Adityas, Agni as Vasus, Daksha as Prajapati, Indra as Marudagana, Prahalad for the ruler of demons. That is where when the Shravana thing comes, the Onam happens when Mahabali enters, Shravana Nakshatra, in moon in Capricorn. Moon comes into the time, that's when Mahabali comes out. They call it as Onam, happy Onam at the time for people. Prahalad, then you have Airavat of elephants, which is the thing with Indra, Garuda of birds, Indra of gods, Vrishab as cows. That's the sloka also comes, right? Vrishabhatvajaya Vitmake Krinikastaya Dhimagi Danno Guru Prachodayad. So Vrishab is the king of cows. Where is Vrishab placed? In Taurus. Vrishab comes exactly in Taurus. Lion as the king of beasts, Leo. In a way, if you see, Sheshnag as the king of snakes, Himalaya, right? As the king of the land masses, right? Kapil as the king of sages, Tiger as this is also an associated with Rahu in a way, long nails, long teeth. Then Brahma divided the kingdoms, Dikpala, Ashtatikpalas we have, right, for the 8 corners, right? And then he said that one of his part remains unmanifested as Brahma, second Prajapati, third as time, fourth as living being. And then how it says how Brahma started creating, use the Vedas to do this process, right? Prajapatis and the Saptarishis, and then there was no call. Then they started the carrying out the process of call means time. Okay. And again, it talks about Sri Hari and Vishnu lots of things, the conch, the sharang bow, all of those is here, the Vaijayanti garland, and all those things you can see here, which is how he started breaking it down. Now, I'm not going to go to all the details, but I'm going to just share this for you to know how there was a step-by-step creation involved. Okay, this is the last part, the Jyotirlinga, fourth Jyotirlinga, Mahakaleshwar. Now, it's in Ujjain, it's in Madhya Pradesh. I had the great opportunity to go and visit a couple of years ago. So I was blessed in a way because I was at work in Indore and Ujjain and MP at the time. So it was a perfect thing. It's a very specialist, it's associated with Saturn, and it's also south facing. None of the thing is south facing. This is the only thing which is south facing. And the story goes is, there used to be a Brahmin in Avantikapuri. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, used to worship Shiva daily, and had 4 sons, right? The 4 sons are here. They had very good life they had. And after the death, the Brahmin continued further. There was a mountain by name Ratnak, on which a demon named Dushan lived. And he got a lot of wounds. The punya happened from Brahma, right? So he used to show his energy power. The minute you get power, right, you start using the power thing, right, to misuse the power. And he took everything under his control except this house in which the Brahmin lived because of the protection. And then he ordered his fellow demons to bring the Brahmin, capturing them. All the demons went to Avantikapuri and created chaos, but they told, and because of Dushan's order, and they were just doing the worship, they didn't even care, okay? And the demons attacked them, but then what happened? Nothing happened, but the earth cracked over there. And Shiva came out of the cracks and he killed all the demons. He went to the Ratnamala mountain and killed Dushan. He again returned to the Brahmins and expressed his desire of fulfilling the wish. So the Brahmins said that they want to get liberated from bondage in this world. They also asked him to kind of stay here as a protection. And that is where he comes as a protection of Mahakal. Okay, so this is the thing with the Mahakal Jyotirlinga Mandir, which is in Ujjain. I always say when you go there to any of these Jyotirlingas, collect the sand and name it and keep it. It's very auspicious for doing remedies later with the sand. Okay, so please collect the sand whenever you go here. Okay, the learning is the karma of if somebody is having a problem with a job, spouse, and business. In a way, if you see, this is all associated with 10th and 7th. Natural 10th house, Saturn owns. Capricorn as Karmasthana. 7th house, natural, he gets exalted in Libra in Swathi Nakshatra, 20 degrees. And the prayer to go and say there is Om Namah Shivaya, Namo Kaleshwaraya. So especially blessed when visiting this temple during waning and new moon time period. You see, it's not waxing or full moon. Waning and new moon time period, Saturday. And all the more if it's a Saturday. For people born with Saturn in Lagna, Saturn Nakshatras, Pusha, Anuradha, Uttara Bhadrapada, Saturn Mahadasas. This is the temple to visit. Yeah. Or Saturn is your Lagna Lord also in a way. So you can also include that Saturn as Lagna Lord or Rashi Lord. Yeah. So this is the last. And again, to summarize, there is Vedic astrology classes I teach and 1 to 4. So people who are interested, only next year you can enroll, which is series 1 and series 2. Nothing is for this year further because series 1 and series 3 is active this year. Clubhouse sessions, you can come and get the app and download and kind of attend to live sessions, which is kind of done on a weekly basis, but do check out calendar invites, limited sessions uploaded in YouTube. And of course, if you want to understand some of the syllabus and series, there is a link, you can go and check it out. Yeah. This is again, if you want to understand a little bit more, and if you feel you resonate to my way of teaching, my way of bringing science and everything together. And, you know, because I look at science, I look at Vedic astrology, I look at how you bring it back and implement. Yeah. So it's a combination of all of those things. So with this thing today, we are kind of end of the session, right? And it's about 2 hours and 10 minutes. Perfect. So I'm going to take a pause. If there is any questions or comments, I will be happy to add. Thank you for all of you for bringing back on the Daksha Yajnas and even for help with the videos for the balloon experiments and everything. So thanks a lot. Any questions or comments, I'm happy to answer. Within 48 hours, I will upload the YouTube as well as the presentation. So it will come to you. Just make sure that you're subscribed to that Gmail, the YouTube thing, so that you get an update. Yeah. So any questions, comments? If there are no more questions, the next session we will plan in the next 3 to 4 months or so. So this will be a continuity to what we have discussed. We discussed about Jupiter and Sun last time. This is Moon and Venus, so it will continue in the same way. Of course, the next Jyotirlinga will also come as well, right? And more insights, Vedic astrology, Hinduism, Puranas and stuff will also come next as a continuity. Yeah. So if there are no more questions, again, thank you. And let me say my prayer again and we'll call it for a day. Yeah. 1 minute. All right. So I have my Mercury behind me, Buddha. So I'm just going to say, and all right. So thank you guys. And I wish all of you a good day. And thank you for participating with your comments and questions as well. and talk to all of you soon in the next masterclass. Before that, of course, we have clubhouse sessions. So if you want, you can also attend that on this week. Also, there is a clubhouse session. Yeah. Thank you again, and have a good day and a good night wherever you are. I will go ahead and close the session for today. Okay. Thank you and have a good day.